Hi guys, I'm Alessandro with First On Magazine. With me today, I think a premiere for you at our portal.
Yes, it is.
News page is Marianne Pahkala,
That's good.
special team coordinator with the Vienna Vikings. Or to say it in her mother language, Finnish, I prepared something. Please don't judge me.
I won't. I'll never will.
Hei, olen Alessandro, First Down. Tänne haastatellen Marianne Pahkala, Vienna Vikings erikoisjoukkueen valmentaja.
That's really good. I understood it. That's straight.
Nice.
That's a Finnish lesson for everybody.
It basically says, hi, I'm Alessandro, we're interviewing Marianne today. Basically. And now it's your part because we are in Vienna and she needs a bit of learning in German, what I understand. She is good at it, but you can always improve. And here's the notes with this German, this sentence, which basically say, I'm Marianne and I'm happy to be here today.
Okay, so the first part, I think I'm pretty good. Hallo, ich bin Marianne Pahkala und freue mich, dabei zu sein. Dabei zu sein.
Yeah, good.
I am happy to be here, though. It is true. I am happy to be here.
Yeah, something nice. Okay, now it's professional, serious.
Okay.
Who is Marianne Pahkala?
Oh, wow. I'm much more than just a special teams coordinator. I've just, with the Vienna Vikings only, I do also strength and conditioning coaching. I do all the medical coordination. I do everything I can to help this team win. And Marianne Pahkala, she's a football coach. Very nice person, I would say. Funny. Again, a personal opinion. That's me, just football.
That's it.
That's it.
You mentioned you're from Finland. You grew up there and made your way around the world. Actually, you stated that you at the Seinäjoki Crocodiles, I think. Yes. You started out your career during what, teenage years, high school years?
Teenage years, yeah.
Tell us a bit about it. How does a girl from a rather small town in the middle of Finland, in the middle of nowhere?
Nowhere, that's fine.
Not only impresses at the home team, but goes around the world, being actually in college football, USA, NFL, and then ending up in the Vienna Vikings?
Ooh, I could write a book about this. But yeah, that's a great question to start with. And I love to give a shout out to my Seinäjoki Crocodiles because they started my career. Being around them, getting to know what American football really was and getting inspired to go further with it. And this is where I always love to give a big shout out to the import players who come from United States here. That's how American football started in Europe back in the day, was Americans bringing it over and teaching it to us. And it was import players at the Seinäjoki Crocodiles who were letting me dream and tell me I could be a college athlete. I could actually go to the United States, probably not to play American football, but to play rugby instead, which is what I ended up doing and start on this coaching journey over there. So a big shout out to those people who helped me start out my career. You might know one of them, Chuck Crawford. So I got a lot of help and inspiration to begin my career. And then I just stuck with it. Landed in the United States one day as a freshman college student athlete, wanted to get into coaching and started rolling from there through many, many different stops. Finally now ending in Vienna, nobody knowing what the next step will be. And it's been a whirlwind. It's been up and down, positive and negative, but it all started with being inspired, falling in love with the game that is truly so special. Like every American football fan, especially here in Europe, loves American football for a few different reasons. The community that surrounds it is pretty freaking awesome. And the sport itself is more exciting than anything else you can watch on TV or in a sporting field. Can I say that? Oh, that's
yes, amazing. You can say everything on this, but there is no political correctness, so go for it. Let's stick with high school transitioning to college. Obviously, you finished in Finland your school, high school. Yeah. How did it happen that you then
went over to States?
Yeah, crossed the big lake, if you will, and end up in college in USA?
At that point, I had decided that I want to work in American football for sure. I knew I couldn't play it on a higher level. Women's leagues were already around, but that wasn't truly my passion. I wanted to get into that coaching side of things, but I did want to play sports. And I started reaching out to colleges, showcasing what type of athlete I was. I ended up getting an opportunity to play rugby and run track and field at a small Division II school in St. Louis, Missouri. And I took it and went. And it was just an offer to go. And it wasn't too expensive, but it wasn't cheap either. It was a big investment for my family as well to make all that happen. There's flights, insurances, costs that go into playing on the collegiate level. I know there's a lot of young American football players, for example, who are dreaming about that. It's not cheap, but it's so well worth it. It was for me in my career. Not only did I grow as a person a lot, but obviously I got to start forging this path towards what I really wanted to do as an adult, which is coaching. So
that's actually a good point, because at your university or your college time at the Division II university school, you actually did rugby, but you mentioned before at the Vienna Calling podcast, the ones from the Vienna Vikings, that you were afraid of contact, therefore you wouldn't want to play football. One of them, just to order it, guys, one of the most successful special team coordinators in the league, in the European League of Football, was once afraid of contact, and now is coordinator. How does that happen? That you?
It was just on the personal level. Like, I wasn't a good American football player. I will say that. I could, it just, there was something about the contact part that really scared me. I wouldn't go into those situations. And then when I got to college and I started playing rugby and I was taught rugby, there's essentially the same thing. We'll just take all the gear off, no helmet, no pads, no nothing. And I was like, oh, this feels somewhat safer. And this was actually around the same time when that rugby style tackling came into American football as well, like wrapping around, being safer with it than people used to be. I was like, oh, this is what I like better. But yeah, I was once afraid of contact, not anymore. Now I'm just yearning to play again.
So let us talk us through it. You graduated at the university, made your minor and major, or just the minor?
I both had a major and a minor. I got them in sports management, and I got a minor in coaching as well at Lindenwood University. And then after that, I took a little hiatus year. I was in Kansas City, working with the Kansas City Chiefs and for one of the Division II conferences there as well. So I was doing bits and pieces here and there. And after that, I wanted to go back to school. I wanted to be a graduate assistant. So I ended up at Nebraska on Scott Frost's staff for the Nebraska Cornhuskers. I was working over there for both American football and for their Olympic sports side as a strength and conditioning coach, and ended up getting my master's degree there as well. So that was the next stop after.
And then you just went around the US, you not only did Kansas City Chiefs and Nebraska, but you also did Georgia Bulldogs, you stopped by at the Commanders or Washington Commanders, Detroit Lions, so quite a vita, if you will, quite an impressive one, because it doesn't happen every day that a girl from a small town city in Finland is at those prestige colleges and NFL.
That is
teams.
true. And I had to take a look back at it every once in a while and think about it. That is pretty cool and pretty special. But while I was doing it, I wasn't really thinking about it at all. And this is one type of advice I would always give, because not all those jobs were exactly what I wanted to do. Like, I might be the special teams coordinator right now, but my biggest passion has always been strength and conditioning coaching, which I also get to do here. It's just not as big and important here, maybe, or in the European world. So I love the fact that I get to do multiple roles here. But during those multiple stops at Detroit, Washington, they weren't necessarily the greatest opportunity. It was just an opportunity to work and get better. And I kept taking them, not really knowing how I would do at them or if it would be something I want to do. But I learned so much along the way about myself, about football, about how to be a hard worker and take those opportunities. So that's the biggest thing I would want others to understand, is that it's not always about the specific role you're getting, but it's about where it might lead you down the road.
Okay, it's quite surprising that you said you weren't the greatest jobs or opportunities at Detroit and Washington, if I understood you correct. I mean, you still were in the NFL. Like,
Yeah,
it's the dream of every coach or player of American football to be there. But during your time in the USA, did you ever had the point where you missed home? Like where you said, it's nice to be here. I have all those opportunities, can collect all the experience, grow as a coach also, but also as a person. But at some point, I would like to be back home because I miss my family, miss my friends, loved ones, etc.
Yeah. Family definitely was a big thing. But other than that, I was so endraped into that world of football, and it's fast and go and always something happening and always another job around the corner, that you don't really get time to be homesick. You don't get to wallow in those feelings. So I didn't miss my family. I went to see them every chance I would get, maybe once a year, twice a year. That was it. But the missing Europe, a little bit here and there. Mainly the culture is very different. The people are very different. I have both friends from both United States and Europe, and I love them all equally. It's just I'm European. I was born and raised here, so my culture is a little different from the American. So that was the only reason I was like, I miss some things here in Europe for sure.
Before we come back to Europe, you were at the Spring League. You had to stop there and made quite an impressive meeting with someone who's playing right now for the Vienna Vikings.
Yes.
Amani Dennis. Tell us, how did it come together and how did you stay in touch after? Because I think you mentioned that you knew the Vikings were looking for a player like Amani Dennis, and you had it already in your mind that he would be a great fit for the Vikings.
Yeah, that was throughout my career. I kept Europe in my mind in that sense that I would always preach that to players, is that like, if NFL isn't for you, if CFL isn't for you, or if a 9-to-5 business job isn't for you, you can always seek out opportunities in Europe. I know people there. I know what it's like to play European football. Reach out to me, stay in touch with me. I already preached this like since my freshman year of being a coach's assistant at Lindenwood. And when I ended up in the Spring League, they were looking for operations helper, coaching assistants, and so on. I ended up with one team called the Chousters in the Spring League. And in our hub in Houston, we had all the other teams as well. One of them was Amani's team at the Generals. And we played against them a few times. I got to meet the players from all those teams. Some of them I chatted with more, some of them less. Amani, I actually ran into quite a few times. He always thought that Europe was cool. So we just followed each other on Instagram. And I would follow where his career led him. He was kind of following where my career led me after that as well. And it was like a like on a story, or like, oh, that looks cool. Good luck with that. Things like that. Then I saw him in this CFL sphere where you get signed, you get cut, you get signed, you get cut. And I know how stressful that can be for a guy. And we were looking for a defensive back. I was like, hey, how do you guys like this guy? I'm texting Amani. I was like, would you have any interest? Like, please, like, I'll help you out with anything you need. And actually, he was really, really interested in the opportunity, and it ended up working out beautifully for us and for him. I'm hoping he's having a great time. At least he's making huge plays on the field. But it comes down to those connections. And it's always nice to be able to help somebody out. I felt really good being able to offer an opportunity for Amani, whether he would take it or not. And I'm pretty sure that he feels pretty good about being offered it at the end of the day and finally saying yes and coming over to us. So
understand. Just have to follow my notes a bit. You left the USA at some point, but you didn't left football, obviously. But you made quite how they say it, interesting stop, because not only you were at your home country, Finland, part of the national team, but you also stopped by in Romania, which was critical for what followed up later.
True. That is true.
Tell us a bit, how did it came together that you came back from USA back to Europe, ending up in Bucharest, I think,
yes,
with the Rebels.
The Bucharest Rebels. Shout out to my Rebels.
And then via the Rebels met important coaches who ultimately brought you here to the Vienna Vikings, if I'm not mistaken.
You're absolutely correct. And it is an interesting one. But this goes back to relationships because Jack Crawford, who I mentioned earlier, was going to play at the Bucharest Rebels. They were also looking for some help. He reached out to me. We made it work. I end up in Bucharest, a beautiful city and a beautiful football team. Great guys that I got to meet there and worked that short season of my life with them. But what happened there was that they want to improve football in Romania and Bucharest so badly. They want to learn and get better. So they decided that we're going to take the whole coaching staff and go to a coaching clinic, which was happening in Berlin in that fall. And I end up going with them. We're at a clinic. I get to meet Coach Kessler. We get into talking. I'm telling him that I'm just looking for any opportunity. Now I'm staying in Europe. I've decided that. I don't have a visa in the States anymore. And he was like, well, I'm with the Vienna Vikings. Like, let's talk. Maybe our head coach is interested, looking for another pair of hands to help. And that's what happened. So everything happens for a reason. I went to Bucharest for a reason, to meet amazing people, an amazing football team, but to finally end up here.
Besides the Vienna Vikings, was there maybe an opportunity back home in Finland to do the same job or even a higher job or another positions coach back in Finland?
I think I could have found an opportunity, but I wasn't actively looking for one. I kind of set my eyes on like, okay, I've the best team in all of Europe. That had been on my mind since I was a child, pretty much. We knew in Finland, we know who the Vienna Vikings are. It's like, if they're interested in me, why would I look any further? No hate to Finland at all. That's my home country. I love it. I love football there. But ELF was new and shiny and exciting. Vienna Vikings has always been an organization I've looked up to a lot. And first time meeting Coach Kessler and then Coach Kalaikai, I was just like, this, if I would get to work with these people every day, life would be pretty awesome.
That's a question I want to just throw in. Would you like to see someday that a Finnish franchise plays in Europe's premier football league, like being from Espoo, Helsinki, and other cities? Do you think it's even realistic that at some point we might or could see a Finnish franchise in the league?
The Helsinki Polar Bears. I would love to call them. That's such a cool mascot, Polar Bears. I think from the football sporting perspective, absolutely Finland deserves a franchise. Based on our population amount of players we have, it would probably have to be a similar deal as the Nordic Storm has, where we could pull players, whether that's Sweden, we also border Norway. Not a whole lot of people know that, but we do. Or Estonia, something, so we get a little extra area, not just Finland. So from a talent perspective, coaching perspective, we have amazing coaches there. Absolutely possible. Only downside in Finland is that we don't pull the fans we would want. At the Finnish, it's called the Maple League. Their games are not, for some reason, pulling as many fans as the ELF would need to hold a sustainable franchise. But I think I'm hoping there's plans in works for the Polar Bears or whatever it's going to be at the end of the day to come true, because that would be a really, really good team from the get-go.
Would it be something where you said, if, there's the big if now, Finland would have an own franchise, where you would say, okay, maybe I transfer back home? Or is it like, okay, no, the Vienna Vikings are for me the number one premier. The only way I go is if an NFL team promotes me to a coordinator or assistant coach job, and then I would maybe leave the Vikings?
I think it's that if the Vienna Vikings want me, I'll stay here. Okay. The US is another question. Even if there's a franchise in Finland, Vienna is my priority. If they want me, I'll be available for them. That's how I feel.
Okay. So if you heard it first, if there would be a franchise in Finland, I have bad news for you. But now we know you're a special team coordinator here at the Vienna Vikings to come here to Vienna as we speak. But you started also as a running back coach, a position you felt when it was offered to you. I mean, you mentioned Max Kessler, the contact, and Chris Kalaike also interested in you. You were transferred here, you came here, made a living. but starting as a running back coach, what was the first challenges whatsoever?
That was a challenge in itself, because I've always been so deep into the strength and conditioning sphere of things, and that's my specialty. Yet I understand football, and I played football myself. I've never coached a position before. Running backs is kind of an easy position to start with on your coaching journey a lot of the times. And just based on how our offensive staff was in our first year, for example, my role wasn't huge anyway. We were very centered around just working on our plays on the field, and my role was our OC leading the meetings. So it was an easy place for me to jump into and learn something when it comes to being a position coach that I needed to learn, and I still need to learn. That's why kind of after those 2 years, I was also telling Coach Kalai, guys, like, I don't have enough time. I'm doing all these other duties as well on the side, that I don't get to focus enough on the running backs, and they deserve that. So maybe we find another solution. So now being the special teams coordinator and the strength coach has worked out a million times better. But it was a cool journey to start on, especially having our guy Kari as the starting running back and other super veteran, knowledgeable football players like Flo Bacon. So it wasn't an issue ever. They helped me out as much as I helped them.
I mean, you mentioned this. Vikings have some Finnish player, Lalo, Pajarinen. I don't know if it was Lalo or Pajarinen who translated to me the word what perkele mean, because I only know two Finnish words, and I know seitsemän, and I know perkele. And I know perkele is a bad word, so don't remember that.
Beep.
But I think one of those two guys was that translated that word to me, because I wanted to know, because I saw it in some video.
Yeah.
And I didn't know what it meant. And I tried to understand it. And when you played against Rocklo down in Wiener Neustadt, one of the two guys I captured after the play when we were leaving, and I asked him what they meant, and it's not a nice word. It's not a nice word.
Not a nice word. Seitsemän means 7. That's an okay word. We can use that one.
You want to know the backstory of it?
Why? Is that your favorite number?
No, it was. But it's because of Kimi Räikkönen. Because when I grew up, I was a big fan of Kimi Räikkönen, and still am. And so given his number was the 7, when Formula 1 decided to put in the regulation every driver could choose the preferred number, he chose the 7. And I Googled it, and they put out seitsemän.
Yeah.
And that's the only number I can remember in Finnish or any word because of Kimi. That's the only. I tried to figure out what 69 means, not because of that thing. No. But Kalle Rovanperä, because he's Finnish rally driver world champion.
Yeah.
But I don't know what it is, and I think I'm too dumb to understand it.
69.
Exactly that.
Yeah, it's
what
hard. 69.
I don't know. Okay.
It's an exceptionally hard language. I'm already very proud of you for knowing seitsemän and perkele.
Perkele, you should be proud. Okay, gets back to the series. You're the only female coordinator or high coordinator in the European League of Football. How do you view that? Because I mean, it's obviously sorry to say it, it's still a man sport, man-dominated field. You see, if you make the checkup on how many men and female are on the coaching positions. But would you consider yourself something as a pioneer, an idol, something for the youth, for younger women who try to follow your footsteps?
Yeah. If they look up to me and feel that way, that's amazing. And I try to be a good example. But that goes for all young coaches. Like, you're nothing special if you're a man, you're nothing special if you're a woman. And I want to see everybody on the same level. I get treated the exact same here. I never have a locker room of my own. I'm always changing clothes in the, closet somewhere down the hallway. Not complaining, I'm just making a joke. But I would love to see more female coaches. It's just, we have to work our way up there. It takes forever to get to these points. The NFL only had their first female coaches, a decade ago, and it's been a very slow build-up because there's not a lot of females who play football or are interested in football or want to coach it. So there's not a big pool to pick from. But it's also, I feel like sometimes I'm very blessed because Coach Kalaika was open to the idea of having a female on his staff, because that changes the kind of the atmosphere you're in. Like all of a sudden it's like, okay, let's go guys. Let's go guys and gal. Like that's kind of how it goes. It's different. But he was very okay with it because I also happen to be a personality that fits in with this coaching staff. So I would love to see more head coaches, GMs, whoever are making the calls in different teams to just give the opportunity and find the right person when it comes to their knowledge, their work ethic, their personality, and just work with them and teach them along the way. Because there's also a lot of benefits that come with female coaches like myself. We're different. Like we speak to the guys differently. We can connect with them differently. And it brings that little softer side into football at times that's needed as well. So Bruce Arian said the thing about you want to have as many voices, different ones, older, younger. And I think that's a really good way to put it. You don't want just cookie cutter, same type of people. Sometimes you need a man, sometimes you need a woman, sometimes you need, I don't know, an older one, a younger one. That's how it goes.
I mean, when I first came here in May, I think it was, when I interviewed head coach Kaleke and Stefan Meyerhofer, I saw you on the field coaching and drilling your players. And I was quite impressed because I figured, okay, there's a woman in charge, and no one speaks even a word when you say something. Is it something that you have to earn this type of respect? Sorry to ask, but especially as a woman, that you have to earn that the respect that the 150 kilo man listens to you, follows your commands? Or was it from the beginning, okay, this is Coach Pahkala and everybody listens to her, otherwise you get in trouble?
I think it's half and half, because Coach Kalaika definitely, let the guys know that, hey, we're going to have a female coach. She's just a coach. Forget the female title in front of it. You're going to respect her just the way you respect the rest of the coaching staff. And well, then again, our players also have been raised really, really well at home. Shout out to all the moms and dads and caregivers in their lives, but they've been raised really, really well. So I've never had an issue with one of our players not respecting me. But part of it is also them being around me, getting to know me, seeing how I operate, and seeing that I truly do this for the betterment of this team and for them. And I think that's just like raises their respect as well. I work really hard for it.
I mean, we see it when you're on the field, or especially on game day, when your preparation of the let's say in Vienna Neustadt, you were heard on the press tribune.
Perfect.
I could hear that you were coaching them. I wanted to ask: is there maybe, since there's not so much women in coordinator coaching positions, a network within Europe or America where you maybe type of WhatsApp group or Facebook chat or whatever, where you interact with each other, connect, change ideas, swap ideas to not only help yourself, but only to grow the female part within the coaching?
In Europe, actually, no. Or if there is, somebody let me know right now. But I was part of the NFL Women's Forum a few years ago already. And we have ongoing group chats where we keep adding more and more coaches that enter, whether that's a college, NFL, high school team. We keep adding them onto it. And a lot of the things we discuss are obviously football. But on the other hand, like troubles we might have, like I'm very blessed with the position I'm in, and like the way I get treated here, it's not always the same in every team, and they might have struggles there. So it's like a big support group on WhatsApp. But I would love to have something like that in Europe as well. Maybe I should be the one to start it.
I mean, you're if you put it, the most famous one, because you're the only in the European League of Football. So
yeah.
From the hierarchy, you are.
Let's see.
Is there any coach where you say you would consider an idol for you, someone you look up or mentor, somebody where you say, I would like to be, let's say in 5-10 years time, a coach like him or her?
Yes, but there are multiple. I'll give 2 different examples. Our head strength and conditioning coach at University of Georgia, Scott Sinclair, a guy who takes no bullshit. Great guy. Learned a lot from him and would really want to be somewhat like him in the future, like not only success, but just the way he is as a person. But that's on the hard ass side, kind of like that rah-rah. I'm not really the rah-rah coach. I'm more like the asking still nicely before I get mad coach. But I would like to learn to be the way he is. But even from the other end of the spectrum, not a coach, Scott Pioli is a great mentor of mine. He's a former general manager. He was with the Kansas City Chiefs, the Browns. Now he's doing football, Good Morning Football. Now he went back to college, I believe. I need to catch up with him. But he is that understanding people's person. And I'm already on that route. I want to get better at that. He has a big foundation to help women in coaching roles or scouting roles. That's why I also really look up to him, trying to help others. But there are so many people that I've personally met that I look up to so much, and I want to emulate in what I do and how I am. But there's also a lot of those that I don't even know, and I'm just looking up. There's a lot of female coaches like that I don't really know that well, and I'm just like in awe of them, of how amazing they are.
Okay, great. You again coming back to the podcast, you were on the Vienna Vikings. You stated that you would like to see more coaching exchange. In what way did you mentor? Did you mentor between Europe and USA, or within Europe? In which age group, college level, premier level? What did you intend to say?
Yeah, Europe and USA for sure. It's just our seasons here, whether it's ELF or other leagues, are usually during the summertime, which means that during our off season, we have time to go visit, whether that's a college or especially in the springtime when we're in spring ball in the States. That's the best time in my mind to visit different teams and learn from them. But it's often up to the coach themselves to make those connections and, go by themselves. And it takes a lot of courage, and a lot of people tend not to take that extra step. So I would love for there to be an easier way, whether that's our own coaches community coming together, like planning a trip that like, hey, we're welcomed at Rice University. Let's go learn from them for a week, or even participating at AFCA, which is the big American Football Coaches Convention that happens every year, to go places like that together in like as Europeans, because it is truly very special what we're able to do here with the very limited resources we have. And sometimes the limited knowledge we even have at use. Like there are so many football coaches in Europe who didn't grow up playing the game because there wasn't availability to play the game, or they haven't learned through getting great coaching. They've learned from Madden. They've learned from reading about it. So the more we can actually go over there and see things, or have American coaches come here, I'm not even saying as coordinators or head coaches, but to help us out and analyze. That's why we had Norm Chow on our staff, is to like point out like, hey, this and this could be fixed. In my opinion, you're doing great on that and that. That brings a wealth of knowledge that we wouldn't get otherwise.
How would you imagine that this could function if you set up, let's say you set up a plan, you're responsible for this? Would you do it in a similar way like NFL does it with the international players, like a pathway program, something like that, where, okay, under these leagues or this organization, we organize everything, we give the opportunity, we do it like exchange programs, something like that? Would it be that maybe a way to do it?
Absolutely. And this is my call out for the NFL. They're very focused on gaining Europe as a market, and they're interested in the IPP. They have NFL academies, multiple now. But the one thing that they haven't really focused on is the quality of coaching in Europe and the coaching exchange. And I think that is something that they could pick up and do the groundwork for, because it's in their best interest as well, is to make NFL a global game. NBA has that status. That's a global game. NFL isn't there yet. And players, that's cool. That's marketing as well. That's big time. But doing that with the coaches, that builds the groundwork for Europe to raise to the level of United States in the next decades.
I mean, we have seen actually with the Vienna Vikings examples that it will function or that work successfully. Bring US coach over here, Chris Kalaike, over 20 years. He's now with Vienna, but also, for example, Fred Armstrong, who is with the Rhine Fire, also American citizen, who came here in Europe and put his input. Is it something that, would you say, a long term will be even more often, that we see more often imports who will not only stay maybe 1, 2, 3 years, but build a legacy or a career path where they really get championships and do long-term investment into that, and especially helping out maybe younger ones who want to do this step?
I really, really hope so, because it reaps its benefits time and time again. When the real type of import player, for example, which is what Chris Kalaika started as, finds their spot and enjoys it enough, and they just realize that this is where I want to give back. I'm sure that when Kalaika himself was done playing in Europe, he could have just packed his bags and moved back to the States with his growing family at the time and coached there. I'm sure he would have never been without a job there. He's a great football mind. But he decided to give back to this community that gave him an opportunity to extend that dream of playing football. And I'm sure we will see more and more of that. And it is very crucial for the growth of the game. And I'm thinking now, especially with the ELF, we see coaches come and go. The Vienna has been very stuck with Coach Kalaika for very good reasons, for a good time. And I hope more teams do that. They stay with the same coaching staff for multiple years. Don't give up at the first sign of something going wrong, and let the coaches build themselves as well.
To stay in the football term, we're coming to the fourth quarter in the final minutes to slowly round up this interview. If Marianne Pahkala were in charge of the European League of Football today and could change one thing about the play, being the length of the schedule, or like the length of the game itself, what would it be that she would change immediately?
Oh my
More cities
goodness.
maybe involved? What would it be?
You're tricking me with this one. One thing that I would change is the import rules. I think that's been a big topic every now and then. Is that, are we doing it the right way or are we not? I think I love all the teams in this league. We played, for example, Ferva. I was excited to see their first win this season. It was amazing. Brock did so well this season, for example. But maybe teams who struggled the previous year should get an extra import or two, whether that's an A or just an E. I know that's also a budget issue and like what's the payments like and so on. But if they were allowed to get a little bit of extra help to try to build football in those countries, that would be very beneficial and something I would love to see. Don't take anyone away from us. Like, we want to keep our imports as well. But giving those few extra spots and opportunities to get a really great guy to lead their offense or defense and help out bringing the other players up as well could be really beneficial.
Your season is starting now, or your second part of the season is now starting with the playoffs. You have the number 1 seed successfully, or in an absolute nail-biting thriller. You wrestled down the Paris Musketeers. How much is it a relief to be in a bye week, not only where you see as a franchise, but also for you as a special team coordinator, that you have had one more extra week to prepare the team, especially your special teams? How does it help?
It's huge. It's just like this extra week to get players healthy. I think every team that's in the playoffs now are struggling with the same thing. Like, we don't have the same roster health-wise as we did in the beginning of the season. That's impossible. So now getting this extra week to let them rest and just get healthier again, to be able to, these are the toughest 2 games that are coming up, the semifinal and then the eventual final. So getting healthy for that, giving the coaches enough time to also, we got to drill down some basics this week, and then we get into scheme when we find our opponent for the playoff. Extremely important. But the number 1 seed, I don't think any of us care too much for that. Like, it's cool, it's great, we accomplished something we wanted, but it's just like, it's great saying that we are not the hunted, we are still the hunter. So we are not the deer that somebody's trying to shoot down, we are the ones trying to shoot down somebody.
Interesting.
That's something I learned at Georgia. I like that one.
Interesting comparison saying, I mean, at the beginning of the season, before even the first week went by, Vienna Vikings was one of those franchises who were handled as one of the top favorites to make it to the final and win the championship, especially after your tough loss last season. Is it something you see that you will go and win the championship? I mean, Chris Kalika said to me at the beginning of the season, he doesn't want to hear any of this. Now, towards the end of the regular season, he softened up a bit and said, okay, maybe we want to win the championship, but now that's the ultimate goal. Also, I talked to a couple of players who said the same. Is it something that you see also? And is there maybe an opponent you would wish to like or to have in the final at Stuttgart?
It's Stuttgart.
It's Stuttgart?
It's Stuttgart in Stuttgart. No, but Chris Kalika is right about that. It's always want to know. It's something that's etched into us. It's not something we just say for fun. But like, I don't really want to think about the final too much right now. We go there through the semifinal, which is even more important that we get this W right now. So we're always going want to know, but if there's a team out there who doesn't have the championship as their goal in the beginning of the season, they shouldn't be playing at all. Like, that needs to be what you're going towards. So obviously we want to go to Stuttgart. And if there was an opponent we'd want to see, man,
it's the Surge.
It's the Surge. I look up to Coach Newman a lot. He's done amazing things over there. It would be a reunion. They have a Finnish player on their team, Chris Malumba, who's an absolute beast. Their whole defensive line is amazing, so would love to go against them.
The last question before I ask you German words again. Contract-wise, I started the last 1-2 games to ask, especially away teams, how contract-wise it looks for 2026 next season. I know we're still in 2025 season, but is there anything from your side? Is there anything that we will know 2026? Is there something signed and sealed? Or, I mean, you mentioned earlier, as long as the Vikings want me to stay, I will stay, and you would like to stay. Is there something signed yet, or is it something like, okay, it's just we would like and we have to do still the contract talks?
Nothing signed yet. I'm obviously hoping and dreaming that I've been valuable enough for the team. If I find myself that I wasn't of value, I wasn't needed this season, I will exit out myself. But if our managing staff and Coach Kalika seemed that I was somewhat of a help to them, then in that case, bring me the paper and I'll sign away.
So to round up the interview, I think we've talked, over 40 minutes now. I have some German words here. Again, from the top to bottom. This is Passempfänger. Could you?
Passempfänger. Empfänger.
That's the wide receiver.
Really?
Yeah, Passempfänger is the wide, or the one who
wide receiver.
Gets the ball. Yeah. Wide receiver.
Passempfänger.
Lateralpass.
Lateralpass, okay. That's a sideways pass.
Or backwards.
Okay.
Depending. Extra Punkt.
That I knew. Extra Punkt, yes.
Say it again.
Extra Punkt.
It was the best German word until now. You know what zebra is?
Referee, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now it's a Viennese word. Leihwand.
Leihwand.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
It means something is really, really great or enjoyable. It's like really a Viennese term. I suggest you don't speak it anywhere
Because they
And
wouldn't
in Austria,
understand.
no, they will understand, but you will already be, oh, the bloody Viennese, we don't like you. Because
I want to be
there's-
bloody Viennese.
No, because it's in Austria it functions a bit like this. If they know you're from Vienna,
Yeah.
automatic red card. The further you go out of Vienna, the more they don't like you. It's something Viennese Austrian thing, like, yeah, it's live and it's when you say live and it's Viennese, when you say it's really something is really enjoyable, something really
I'll
good.
start using that because I want to be seen as Viennese. I am Viennese. It's my 3rd season. I just should speak German.
Yes, you should. No, Marianne, thank you for your time. It was really enjoyable, this interview. I quite learned a lot from, obviously, your side. Thanks, and have a good playoffs game. We won't see each other again this season because of work. I can't go to the semifinal and the finals.
But you'll be watching.
I hope I can make some time for it. If not, the highlights and the rewatch, we'll do it.
Perfect.
So thanks again, and have a great off week until next week.
Danke. Auf Wiedersehen.
Bye.
Okay. If I screw up, can it be edited or do we have to restart?
It's in it.
Okay.
Also, this also will be probably as bonus content afterwards. So what happens before camera? So just a bit of bonus content.
Okay.
You ready?
Fatigue.
Okay.